Hi guys. Today we're going to talk about whether it's possible to earn a living as a yoga teacher or anything else that you're passionate about. Alright guys, so this question comes from Vash from the Czech Republic. Vash, I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly, but either way I'm very grateful that you sent me your question. So for you guys to have an idea, Vash, he is basically interested in becoming a yoga teacher. He just finished his master degree back in the Czech Republic. He was until now, or still is, considering to start a career on the as a diplomat, and also maybe to complete the PhD studies. But he's also very passionate about yoga, and he is now thinking about doing a yoga teacher training, and then after that to offer this in the world, I assume back in Czech Republic. So he asked me, from my experience, whether I think it's possible to actually earn a living doing that. Also, he has mentioned that his father, he is actually very supportive, and he would support him completing the training and so on, but there's still a lot of concern if after completing the training, he can do that, or if he maybe has to do it part-time, while earning a living doing another day job. So this is basically the question. Now, Vash, oh man, I really hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. I've never heard the name, so I'm really sorry. So first of all, Vash, I have to tell you that right now I'm still walking that path, that journey myself. I haven't yet arrived there, in the sense that I'm not yet, making a whole lot of money from this, which is also not my primary goal. But of course I want to, be at the point where I can actually live from that comfortably. So I'm still on the journey, but I still want to share how I look at it and what I have learned so far, walking on that kind of path. So I think, it is basically I'm really convinced that if you do something that you are really, passionate about, and that you really do care about, then if it's of value to other people, you will always be compensated for it. And I think that if you're really serious about this and you really do care about offering yoga, and you're sincere because you have experienced the value of it, then it is only a question of time until you will be able to, live from it, and hopefully live very comfortable from it. This is actually something that all the successful business guys even are saying, who have nothing to do with yoga or anything of that. But if you look at people just to mention two, which are some of my, kind of looking up to them. So there's this guy, Gary Vaynerchuk. If you haven't seen him before, definitely check out. He's basically my business guru, okay? And he has a lot of insight into this, and he's basically saying, you really have to love what you're doing, because only then will you be able to, you know, do the hard work and to be patient enough until you make it. And the same thing so many other people have said. And one of the most famous persons in the world who have said this and lived this basically is Steve Jobs. Okay, he has said that you have to find what you love, what you truly care about, because only when you find that will you be able to be really good at it. And only when you become really good at it, then you will become successful at it. And you know, I like looking at this, I can see the truth in it, because in the past in my life I have done several other things which I have done not mainly because I love doing them by itself, but which I did because of external reasons, you know, because of a high salary, because of prestige, because I thought first they would be interesting. So I started a career in investment management, okay? Coming out of university, this was, I was really interested in it, but it was also like a very prestigious thing to do, and it was very well paying. So I went into that and I did this totally for 2 years. I realized that I could continue it, but I never would continue to be really passionate about it. My passion for it actually decreased over time, and then I asked myself, okay, if I'm gonna continue this for another, 40 years, what's like, at what level will my passion be? So I decided to stop doing that and follow my passion, and now I'm, right there where you're wondering how it's gonna happen, and I'm trying to figure it out. But what I can tell you already is that even though it's a struggle first when you get started in any kind of business, okay, or in any kind of new undertaking, it's struggling. You're trying to build something from scratch. But what I can tell you right now is that in spite of the struggle, in spite of the hard work, and in spite of all the time it takes, the patience that you need to bring, it already feels so fulfilling. All right? So even though I know it will take me more time, and I don't know exactly how long it will take me, where it's gonna be a year, 2 years, I have my goals and I have my visions and I have my plans to get there, and I'm very, very committed and, hardworking. So my plan is, to be there within a year, but I'm willing to keep going even if it takes me longer than that. Even if it takes me 5 years. I don't really care that much about it, because it's really, it sounds like a cliche because other people have been saying it, but now I see how true it is. If you do something that you really care about, it doesn't really matter because you're enjoying it. It's fulfilling. The path itself is very fulfilling, including the struggle, You have to embrace the struggle. I feel you have to, consider the journey as a path even for your own growth. So don't only look at the destination, embrace the journey, embrace the struggle, embrace and consider it as an opportunity for your growth. And so that's why I think the most essential thing is to figure out if that is something that you are really passionate about and that you really can imagine, doing for the rest of your life. And a good question to ask yourself is, would you be willing to do that even if you wouldn't be paid for it? So for example, imagine you have all the money in the world, you don't actually need to earn a living, then how would you like to spend your time? Is that how you would like to spend your time? And I think if the answer is yes, then this is a good indicator that it might be the thing for you. Now, of course, just thinking about it might not, give you like a true sense. So you might have to just get started. But this is the kind of question you need to ask yourself. Would you be willing to do that even if money would not be a factor? And once you have made up your mind and you think that yes, you would like to do that, then I think you just need to get started somehow. But I don't think it's necessary, nor do I think it's maybe helpful for a lot of people to go all in the sense that you close out all the other options and you say that now you're just going to do that and hope that it'll just happen overnight or within a few months. I think a reasonable way to do it is yes, initially you might have to start doing it part-time. Somehow you need to figure out a way you can support yourself while you are starting off. You need to be able to sustain yourself. You need to be able to bridge that initial time. So I think I look at it in a mixed way. One aspect, I look at it in a practical way. Another thing is, of course, you want to have a big vision, but don't expect it to happen overnight. For some people it might, but I think if you give yourself that pressure, that you close out all the other options, then it might not work out, and then you get disappointed, and because it doesn't happen in the time that you thought it would, and then you might stop it altogether. So instead of doing it like that, I think you can just get started. So maybe you do the training, and after that you start another kind of work. You have to choose the kind of work in a way that you have to consider your situation, your factors. So just to give you an example how I am going about it at the moment. When I came back to Germany after I completed my training, I spent 3 years in India. And so I was thinking about how am I going to continue, how am I going to start off here in Germany. One option, of course, would have been for me to, go back in the kind of job that I had before in real estate and investment. But I didn't really want to go there because I asked myself, okay, what kind of job would I like to do? Even if I have to do it for a longer time, not only for the money, but even if I have to, do it for a couple of years. If that, worst case, if that yoga thing doesn't fly, I still want to do something which is kind of, fulfilling for me. So for me, I chose that I complete my training here in Germany to get a certification to be eligible to work as a high school teacher, because I did this for 2.5 years in India and I really enjoyed it. And even though my biggest vision is to be a yoga teacher, I think being a high school teacher for me still is a good fulfilling job. So that even if I have to do it for a couple of years before I can completely do yoga full time, it's still something that I consider as a useful, valuable activity to do. I think being a teacher in general is a very important kind of job, even though the reputation and the prestige in society might not be that high. But from my experience working in India, it was very fulfilling. The point is, I would just tell you that basically you figure out something for you to do that maybe you have to consider different factors like, does it allow you to get started in teaching on the side? Or is it a kind of job that would require your full attention? So for example, if you're talking about, getting started as a diplomat, this could be, I think, I don't know exactly, but it could be a very time-consuming profession where you have to fully dedicate yourself. That might not be the best option if you want to get started as a yoga teacher on the side. So I would say, consider all of these factors. And initially, for the first couple of years, just have a plan ready that allows you to get started with it. But the ultimate question, whether it's possible to earn a living from it, I think absolutely yes. If you're committed about it, if you have the patience and are willing to work hard for it, then definitely. I will link a few links in the description from Gary Vaynerchuk, who is like really talking a lot about these things. And I think he can give you a lot of insight and inspiration. You should definitely check him out. I think this is the most important thing, that you really find what you're passionate about. And see, as long as you're offering something which is of value to people, it will always be compensated. And I truly believe that sciences or tools like yoga and meditation, they will become tremendously more important in the coming years and decades, because people really start to wake up and to see that we are living below our potential and we are creating a lot of problems in the world because we yet haven't figured out how to really make sense of this mind, this body, and everything related to that. So I think that this whole thing of yoga and meditation is only getting started right now. It will become so much bigger in the coming years, and anyone who is really prepared to offer this to the world in an effective and sincere way will not need to worry about making a living, as long as you're committed and passionate about it. So Vash, I hope this is giving you some insight and value. Please feel free to follow up with me if you have other questions. This is also for all of you other guys out there who are watching this. Please feel free to get in touch. Leave a comment below if you have any kind of question. Send me an email. Guys, please give me a thumbs up if you like this. And make sure you subscribe to the channel, right? I'm creating new videos every single week. So make sure to subscribe so that you get all these new videos. And thanks a lot for watching, guys. And I hope to see you soon, all right? Bye, guys.